the 9 dials to build a smarter, more predictable, and more profitable business in 2024. So quite a big workshop and quite a big claim. But let's get cracking in terms of what we feel are the fundamentals in this. So without an army of staff and the ongoing headaches that causes. So first and foremost, does that mean no staff? No, it doesn't. On some occasions it does. But it's about that more headcount isn't always the answer, particularly in this day and age. So let's get stuck into it, mate. And hopefully this is valuable to our members, but also, our wider network who've got access to this as well, mate. So for anyone watching, I'm going to take the lead on this workshop. And as with some of the previous trainings that we've done, Tristan is going to chip in with any gaps that I've missed and also play devil's advocate on some points. So call me out if he feels that I'm talking rubbish on some areas, and I'm just turning my phone onto flight mode so we're not distracted as well. So let's get cracking on. What are we going to cover here? So we're going to break down what we consider the key 9 dials that to build a smarter business, to get things running more predictable, to make more profit, and to actually enjoy running your fucking business. These are the dials that we need to focus on. We're going to do a live audit of where you're currently at. So we'll talk you through that as we go through as well. And for those of you guys who are not already members, there is going to be a little bit of an opportunity at the end to find out more about Unbound and how we are helping early stage B2B founders at the moment to build blah, 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 smarter businesses that serve them and not the other way around. So sound good?
Let's get stuck in, mate.
Magic. So for those who aren't members, let's answer the first question. Who the fuck are we? So not going to bore you to death with mine here, but some of you guys might know me, some of you might not. So built and sold a 7-figure agency that I started on my kitchen table all the way through to an MBO exit. Did that without an outbound army of salespeople, all making cold calls. So a lot of these lessons, well, all of these lessons have been built in real life and not a textbook like many do out there. And now it's my passion to support and invest in other B2B entrepreneurs, not entrepreneurs. That is a typo on this workshop that I've just spotted. So for those of you watching, members of Unbound will know that I tend to put some notes together and put a workshop on pretty quick fire as the ideas come in, without much prep. So there you go. There's the first typo. Prizes for spotting who can spot the most ones as well. So a little bit of an intro to me there. Won't bore you to death. If you want to know more, check it out on LinkedIn. Tristan, do you want to do a bit of an intro as well for non-members?
Yeah, sure. So very different background to Rich's. Lots of leadership, biz dev and ops experience. And then about 4.5 years ago, set up a marketing tech business that helps fitness businesses all around the world to grow online. And I'm fortunate that I've got an amazing team that's continuing the journey of building that business, because my passion is to help founders, because starting a business doesn't come with an instruction manual or a playbook. And I was grateful that lots of people helped me on my journey of scaling that business. And so that's why I'm here with Rich today, talking about how we can help founders.
Love it, mate. Love it. I didn't do a bad job there, I suppose, of getting your little intro in as well. So all good. All good. Right. I'll stop rambling, because I actually said on the LinkedIn post that we promised this video for that it's going to be 20 minutes. So let's have that as a bit of a challenge and see if we can do that. I reckon it's going to be an epic fail, but let's see how we get on. Cool. So first and foremost, I want to talk about the founder journey. And the reason being is, a lot of people don't understand this when they first get into business. So we have these dreams of starting a business for freedom, for more flexibility and for more money. And then what happens? We get stuck into it and we start hitting some brick walls along the way. So I'm going to quickly, this is probably a workshop in its own right, but explain what I believe are the 4 stages of being a founder, being an entrepreneur. And what I love about the 4 stages is from a financial perspective, it means different things to different people. Some people, to get to stage 4, need to be doing multi-millions, if not more. Other people might need to be doing hundreds of thousands, because it depends on your own financial ambition, essentially. However, I believe most people do want to get to stage 3 and 4. Otherwise, they wouldn't have left the job in the first place to start on this journey. So, quick rundown of this, but as you can see on the screen, I believe the first stage is ultimately you're just self-employed, or we're just self-employed. So doing pretty much all of the work, minimum freedom. Ultimately, you own a job and not a business. And you often have more stress, sometimes a little bit more money, sometimes a little bit less than your employing job. But if you stop working, the business comes to a halt. And really, that isn't owning a business. That is just owning a job and being self-employed. And unfortunately, what I see is many people get stuck there. So very passionate about helping people get out of that stage. Stage 2 for me is what I consider the general manager founder. So you've got a bit of a team. You're sharing some operational responsibility. But again, the buck still stops with you. So if you take a little bit of time out of the business, go on holiday, you're still checking your emails, you're still taking work calls, you're still thinking about the business, and you can't really switch off. So I'm sure that may resonate with a few people here. And often, if you do spend too much time out of the business, balls are dropped. So you've got to be around to lead from the front. Yeah, you're doing less of the work that you hate, but to get things right, you're still getting pulled into it regularly. The third stage for me is the owner founder. So this is where things start getting better. And this is the stage that we dreamed of from day one a little bit. So you likely have a leadership team at this stage in most cases. In other cases, you've just got bulletproof systems and outsourced functions that you can trust. And one thing that I always talk about with the founders that I support or the people that I invest in is, you've got a business where you can go away for the majority of the school holidays with your kids, if you've got kids. You come back, your business isn't burnt to the ground, and when you check your personal account, you've got more money in it than when you left, however much you've spent. So ultimately, your business is starting to run smoothly in your absence. And then we've got surplus cash to start making investments, whether that's depending on what investments you're interested in or have knowledge in, whether it's property, whether it's JV businesses, whether it's stocks, other dividend paying assets. But then we start getting the money working for us, basically. But the most exciting thing for me at this stage is you're only doing the stuff that you fucking love. And then you've got freedom to work on passion projects. So Unbound is one of my passion projects. I absolutely love it. It doesn't feel like work because it's very, very purpose-led. And don't get me wrong, it's not a charity. We are a business. But it's just work that I absolutely love doing. And all of the stuff that I don't like doing is delegated and outsourced, and we've got the money to do so. And we start getting our money working for us, essentially. Stage 4 is probably retirement for a lot of us, but we're simply just trading money for money, and we can just live off the fruits of our labor. And if we do a little bit of work, it's just pure play, and we enjoy it. Little bit like stage 3, but you're probably not running that many passion projects either. You're just doing a little bit of work for fun here and there, and your money's working for you, and you've built generational wealth, or what you consider is generational wealth. So we'll stress that point again, that from a financial perspective, each of these 4 stages just mean different financial milestones for different people a lot of the time, depending on, I suppose, your own lifestyle as well. So 4-stage founder journey, always like to get that out of the way. And what I want you to start thinking about is, where are you on this founder journey right now? And start having to think about that. Does that make sense, Tristan? Because normally we spend a little bit more time on that, but obviously time's of the essence. So I want to run through that quickly, mate.
It does, yeah. And we'll probably get into some of the reasons why. But what you work with a lot of businesses. Where do you see as the biggest step or stage where people tend to get stuck?
Definitely stage 1 and 2. The majority of businesses are stuck in stage 1, if I'm honest. So it's, if anyone's read The E-Myth, which is my favorite book on business, we quit our job because we're bloody good at our job. So we just start doing our job. But then we've got all the other shit around it as well. Sales, marketing, processes, people, like how to run a business, scaling. which is hard when we're on the tools just doing the job. So a lot of people are stuck there, still doing the work. And then stage 2 is a tricky one as well, because everything else needs to be bulletproof as well. So I'd say a little bit of a mix between those two, mate.
Cool.
Good man. So with time that we've got, let's carry on. So who is this workshop not for? So it's not for those already at stage 3 and 4, because you know it all anyway. So don't worry too much. Those who are, look, there is people out there who are happy grinding it out the old way and doing it the old way. I'm going to talk about the old way and the new way a little bit as we get onto it as well. Look, some people, I get it a lot with like designers, for instance. So they just love being a designer. They see themselves as more of an artist, for instance. So they actually love doing the job and they're not that bothered about building a real business, if that makes sense. Also get it, and particularly in the early days when the passion's still there, where people just love doing the job. Like I know people who just bloody love cold calling and getting in the mix of it. But generally that energy doesn't last forever until they start wanting to building things. But if you're in that stage at the moment and you just love getting stuck in and you love being in the weeds, fair enough, stay there. B2C businesses, don't like to give advice on stuff that I don't know about, and I've never run one, apart from maybe some club nights and stuff back in the day. But yeah, wouldn't have a clue where to start there, essentially. And really those with the mentality of, oh, we've always done this way, and a bit of a closed mindset of doing anything different. I could probably list a few more on there, mate, but does that give a bit of an overview anyway?
Yeah. So who is it for?
Good question, mate. It's like you read the slides. So who is it for? So early stage B2B service businesses is our absolute bag. That's where we've got experience. That's what we know. They tend to fall in the following industries, but not limited to. So recruitment businesses, marketing businesses, IT businesses, accountancy training businesses. Basically, if you're a business that sells a service to another business, then that's our bag. We don't tend to get involved in like too much SaaS and tech, because that journey can be slightly different. We might be looking at raising investment. We can help with the marketing of those. We can help with the sales processes of those. But there's generally bottlenecks at certain stages in terms of raising investment, waiting for that investment, and then you're at the helms of like, yeah, pleasing stakeholders externally. So we kind of shy away from that. So B2B service businesses is really our bag. Typically, for those people at stage 1 and 2 of that founder journey that I've spoken about, and are looking to progress up to stage 3 and 4, whatever that looks like financially. And those who are open to learning from others. So some people don't, like, some people want to go out there and make all the mistakes themselves and do it the hard and slow way. Yeah, those who are open to doing things maybe a little bit easier, a little bit faster by learning from others who are potentially 1 or 2 steps a little bit ahead of them anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Magic. So I mentioned earlier on that I'm going to speak about and get really clear before we get into the 9 dials on the old way and a little bit on the new way as well. So we all know the old way of running a business. We all know times have changed and are changing even more now. So the old way is, yeah, if we're going to grow, we need an army of staff. And we know the headaches that come with that. So again, it's not about having no staff, but it's not about having an army of staff. Generally, we'd need to start building multiple physical locations, i.e. regional offices, or different offices around the world. Generally, it was dependent and is dependent, for some people doing it this way, on traditional labor-intensive outbound methods. So generally quite a large outbound sales team. And then, yeah, relying on methods like cold calling, cold emails, a massive SDR team, essentially. So there's loads of different things in the old way, but again, for time today, that's a little bit of an overview of how we know most businesses used to have to grow and how some businesses are still working that way, essentially. Make sense?
Well, yeah, so there's a lot of change going on in the world at the minute, which can feel a bit uncomfortable, a bit scary, but I guess it's the digitization of everything that's just meaning that you don't have to build a business in this traditional way anymore, and there's a different way of doing it.
Yeah. And what a great time to be fucking alive as well. Like, I won't speak for you, but I also know your background, like working class, normal people being able to learn and leverage what's out there to build wealth and to build businesses. It just wouldn't have happened going back a couple, 2 or 3 decades ago. So what an incredible time to be alive. And this is only getting bigger. Like the opportunities and what we can leverage at our fingertips is only getting bigger as well. So what a fucking incredible time to be alive as well, to take advantage of that. So I, for one, am very grateful of that. So the new way. So what do I feel the new way is? It's a digital marketing-led biz that's working very, very smartly. I like to call it, it's not like inbound versus outbound. I like to call it inbound-led outbound. So we're generating a lot of engagement and leads via smart digital marketing, via taking advantage of social media, technology, automation, things that are at our fingertips. But then it still needs a bit of outbound and the human touch. So yeah, a digital marketing-led business, but not just across sales and marketing, I'd like to stress as well. So working smarter across the business. So founders get in a position to ultimately do what we talked about earlier, doing only the shit that they love. The other thing that I'd put on there as well is, we're going to go through this in a little bit more detail, but is building a predictable, scalable, and repeatable delivery system that gets results for clients without overcomplicating it. So we can start scaling that way as well. So no point having sales and marketing in check if your product's shit, essentially. And also, it might be good, but then it's hard to deliver. So any of you guys that have worked for me for a while know this phrase that I bore you to death with: easy to buy, easy to sell, easy to deliver, and gets results for everyone involved. So that's what I consider the new way of working, essentially. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. And the result of that is smarter, more profitable businesses with founders that are energized because they're doing things that they love.
Yeah, one thing, obviously, as you know, Tristan, that we're big on is like not helping people build a business that ultimately they end up fucking hating as well. So building a business that they love. And I feel that to do that, you've got to get these fundamentals in check. So you're building a business that serves you rather than the other way around. And you're just at the helm and the business has got you shackled, and that's you serve the business. So I think that makes sense anyway. Yeah. Magic. So that's the intro done. Some people might have left because it's not for them, but hopefully the people who are still here, it is for them. So let's get on to the 9 key dials. What we're going to do with this as well is I'm going to go through with them. I've not made any notes on this, so it might be a little bit rough, and give you a little bit of advice on what I mean by each point along the way. But what I want you also to start thinking about is making a note. So if you've got a pen and paper there, absolutely perfect, of where you're currently at, grading yourself out of 10 on it. And then if you're a 6 in a certain area, I want you to start thinking about what are the top 3 things in the gap to get you to a 10. Because you'll start knowing these things already. You might need some additional support, you might not. But I want you to start thinking about where the opportunities are for you guys right now. So at least you're leaving this workshop today with a little bit of a plan of attack in some direction as well. And it's not just top level, here's theory and here's loads of work to do. So I'll crack on with that. So step 1, or dial 1 for me, is always positioning. What I mean by positioning is getting your business and brand in a super smart position so sales and marketing becomes so much easier. And this is where I see most people going wrong. This is the probably quickest fix, not the easiest fix by all stretches, but the quickest fix that we tend to help people out with at Unbound. Is getting that positioning absolutely spot on. Because otherwise, you can do all the clever marketing in the world, podcasts, build communities, automation, email, social media, paid ads, even if you are doing cold calling and stuff like that. But if your positioning is off, we're basically throwing shit at a wall and hoping it sticks. So for me, it's about getting laser focused on what you're world class at, who benefits the most from you being world-class at that? So who do you serve? Understanding exactly the big problems that you solve, getting your messaging absolutely spot on, getting your brand absolutely spot on, getting your key offers and all the rest of it absolutely spot on. So when you are going to the market, it sticks, and it sticks quickly. Now, yes, this can be a quick task, but like I said, it's not always the easiest task to get right, because I find it hard positioning my own businesses because we've got the blinkers on completely. So sometimes getting third-party support on this really, really helps. But for me, it's the quickest win. So, and where I actually see, I mentioned in this in the LinkedIn post, the number one mistake is I still look at 9 out of 10 small businesses, and the positioning is absolutely fucking shocking. And it amazes me, and I think it's insane how most businesses haven't got this right, essentially. So dial one is positioning. So I want you to start thinking about how solid is your positioning right now on a scale of 1 to 10, and maybe what are the key things in the gap there. So does that make sense, Tristan? So obviously we could do a workshop, a full 2-day workshop on this if we wanted, but we've got a few minutes to talk about it. So does that make sense?
Yeah. So what would be the results then if you've got your positioning at a 10, if that dial is dialed right up, what things would you expect to be seeing happening in the business?
More leads from less activity, in a nutshell. So we'd have to knock on fewer doors to get the results that we want. And then also more conversions from those leads as well.
Cool.
Magic. So let's go to dial 2. Just touched on a little bit there, is leads. So once we've got our positioning right, it's then about creating a sales and marketing system that gives you a consistent flow of leads. And also it's reliable. So how do we do that? For some of you guys that have worked with me for a while, you'll know that I bang on about attention, time, money. So to take people from not having a clue who we are to spending money with us, we generally need number 1, the retention, number 2, the time, number 3, the money. So we need to work out and implement a marketing and sales system that gets the retention, time, and money. And we can do this in various ways. There's no one size fits all, but once you've got the positioning right, this is fairly easy, if I'm honest. It's just about doing the work and understanding what works best for you and your business as well. So one thing I will say on this as well is that I don't like off-the-shelf methodologies, because it's the equivalent of Tristan, your mate Patrick, who's a PT, turning around to me and saying, okay, Rich, this is my program. And basically what you do is you go to the gym and you deadlift and squat 3 times a week. And for me, yeah, it'll probably work and get results. But what happens if I don't like deadlifting and squatting 3 times a week? It's not sustainable. A couple of weeks' time, I'm going to fucking give in. So this is where I think it's really important to know yourself. And if we're working with the people who we support, get to know them so we can build a system that works specifically for them in a sustainable way. Because there's loads of ways to do this now, but it's about getting this system going so you're generating that consistent flow of leads as well. So what assets have we got? What systems have we got? What processes have we got to do this? And what are we focusing on? So again, this could be a 2-day workshop, but a little bit of information there. Does that make sense, mate?
Yeah. So I guess there's quantity, consistency, that we can dial it up and dial it down. And then I guess the other key part is quality as well, that it's the right people that are becoming leads and moving into our ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely spot on, mate. Absolutely spot on. Dial 3, conversions. There's no point getting your positioning right, generating leads, and then them not converting into customers. So this is a little bit when I touched on earlier in terms of that inbound led outbound methodology. Look, can we wave a magic wand and all of a sudden just have inbound leads that just sign up? Not for most of us, because we're a service business that is selling high ticket services. So generally 4 and 5 figures. So people don't go on a website and buy those services. So it's about how can we create, we've got all these leads in, they're in the top of the funnel, start getting to the middle of the funnel, but then how can we make sure we've got really high conversions essentially? So that's making sure your follow-up processes are spot on, building a nurturing system. So not everyone is ready to buy right now. So how can we nurture them and make them sticky for when the time is right to buy? Making sure that we're following them up with the right information and keeping them warm, and also so making sure we're closing them in the right way and getting them across the line to become paying customers. And probably one of the most important things as well is getting rid of the people who aren't right for us. So we're talking about building a business that we love. We're not going to do that with clients, customers that we don't like working with, essentially. So getting the systems in place for that, essentially. So think about on this one, score yourself out of 10, what's in the gap and how you can improve that as well. And yeah, hopefully, again, that gives a little bit of information on dial 3, Tristan.
Yeah.
Magic. So that's what I'd consider. I'd put them all in a bucket called business growth. What we're going to get onto next is the second bucket, business delivery. So dial 4, which I mentioned a little bit earlier, is your product. So yes, we're service businesses. Ultimately, we should be treating it like we're selling products. Why? Because if we're selling products, it's repeatable, it's scalable, and it's replicable. So when we're delivering it, we can put systems in place to make sure it's absolutely world-class, and also world-class at getting results as well. So I mentioned it earlier, we should be selling a solution that is easy to buy, easy to sell, easy to deliver, and delivers world-class results consistently. And this, again, with most service businesses, they're just trying to, maybe because they've not got the positioning right, they don't really know who they're serving, they've not done this work, they're just trying to fit into whatever customer puts their hand up and says, I might potentially give you some money at some point. So then they're giving a slightly different service here, slightly different service here, slightly different service here. So when it comes to scaling and delivering, it's fucking hard. It's hard to build a team. It's hard to build the systems around. So for me, it's about stripping back the complex and making it simple and understanding where your most high value work is and who to, and then building a product around that essentially. And then we can get on some of the other stuff, which I won't give away yet because it's the next slide. So does that make sense, mate?
It does, yeah. Yeah.
Magic. So hopefully you've been thinking about what's in the gap on that one. Dial 5, processes. So systems, processes. Tristan, you're absolutely world-class at this. So when it comes to delivering things, how can we really systemize a business? So I'm going to find myself repeating myself here, but it's fine because these are the key points. It needs to be repeatable. We need to be able to replicate it. We need to be able to train people on the key roles, whether that's internal people, external people, freelancers, VAs, whatever it is, to start delivering it. The systems need to be repeatable. Otherwise, how can we get systems in place as well? So SOPs, processes, making sure that every time we get a problem, we bring in a new process so it doesn't happen again. And for me, that's the easiest way to build processes. Start off with where you need to be. And then love taking client feedback. Like every time you get a problem, fucking brilliant. It's going to improve your business and you're going to get a tenfold return on it. But how can we start implementing these processes to get it really, really consistent? So again, could talk about that one all day, but a little bit of information there. What's in the gap? How can you get closer to a 10? Does that make sense, mate?
Yeah, so SOPs, processes, systems doesn't sound very sexy. We're having this conversation with the founder the other day, weren't we? But what is quite sexy is happy customers, customers getting results, customers referring other customers, which makes all the first 3 dials a lot easier.
100% agree, mate. 100% agree. I know it's something we're both passionate about. So whenever we ask a member or a prospect, is like, what's on the agenda? Is it all out growth or is it processes and systemization? 90% will say growth, but actually some probably need to be focused on this side, but it's just not as sexy, is it? However, the results are. So dial 5 done. Dial 6 as we move through. I reckon we've failed at least 20-minute task already, mate. But hey ho, let's carry on. People. So we talked about not having an absolute army of people, but we still need people to deliver. Otherwise, it's going to be on you. Having a really strong, lean team. And I've explained it recently about having key players, but these key players can be anywhere in the world. And they could also sometimes be internal FTEs, so full-time executives, salaried, or there's a world of freelancers, independents, virtual staff now that are world class that we can lean on. And it's not just about VAs, sometimes it will be, but that's kind of the flavor of the week. But we can have world class people in a sales role, in a marketing role, in a customer success role, anywhere in the world. And we don't have to be. If you've got some in your local village, brilliant as well. But we should be taking advantage of this. So getting people as well as systems in the right places is ultimately important. Remember what I said earlier on? That goal of being able to go on a holiday for a month, come back, your business is running smoothly, hasn't fucking burnt to the ground, and you've made some money. And it was genuinely, a light bulb moment, which is why I bang on about it so much, where building one of my previous businesses, I went away for a significant amount of time, spent far too much money, switched off far too much, or I thought I did. But then when I got home, I was like, what's going on here? The business is running all right. Everyone's happy. Customers are happy. The staff are happy. The results are still happening. And I checked my bank account. I was like, spent a fortune. I've got more money than I left. What's going on? This is weird. I was like, shit. This is what running a business is meant to be like. So I talk about that a lot because it's something that I'm passionate about. It was a fucking very nice feeling. And I'm passionate about helping other people get there as well. So I banged on, I got off tangent there a little bit. So sorry, Tristan, mate. But people is a big part of that. And it was fundamental why I was in that position, essentially. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, love it. I mean, you mentioned a word at the start about freedom. Most people start a business to have more freedom. And yeah, you're just not going to be able to do that by keeping control of every single task in your business. So I guess, is this a key area or a key place or a key dial where you see early stage founders getting stuck?
Yeah, and sometimes it's when there's a change in the business, and we're seeing it with some of our members at the moment who are like, yeah, I'm setting a new vision, I'm moving forward with this model, for instance. And it's like, you've got some people within the business that maybe don't fit that model or who don't like change. And ultimately, we need to work with them to get them on side. Or sometimes it's a case of, look, we can get stuck. We can have bottlenecks, whether it's clients, whether it's delivery, whether it's people, whether it's processes, whatever it is. But sometimes people do keep us stuck as well. And it's our job to get them on board, essentially. So, and also external suppliers, I class as people as well, because guess what? They are people. So it all goes into the same box. So yeah, again, a massive area to focus on. And none of this is magic wand stuff. Wave that magic wand and everything's fine. It's an ongoing process. It's about consistently shifting these dials. We're not here to preach, follow our 9-step system and you'll be an overnight millionaire or billionaire. Unfortunately, that's not business. And we're quite honest about it. It's about being in the trenches, doing the right things, focusing on the right things, getting over the speed bumps, getting over the roadblocks when they come, and working on those consistently and shifting the dials, consistently shifting the dials. So yeah, I've got on there, mate. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Magic. So we've done business growth, we've done business delivery. Where do most people stop? Most people stop about worrying about the fucking founder, because unless the founder has a mojo, is passionate about the business, has certain things in the right place, then ultimately none of this can happen. So at Unbound, and whether it's the free advice we're giving or to our members, we're always super, super conscious about making sure the founder's in check as well, because none of this stuff will work if your head's not in the game. So let's get on to dial 7. So first and foremost, vision. Why? Well, it's just a fuel to all our actions. Unless we've got an absolute crystal clear clarity on where we want to be in a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, longer, then how the fuck are we going to get there? And ultimately, for me, that's a fuel that drives everything forward. So unless we've got a clear vision, unless we've got that sat nav dialed in the right direction, then it's always going to be tough. And you see a lot of people just going up and down. It's like a roller coaster, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's because like they maybe take 2 steps forward and then they feel absolutely fucking lost because they're not following a sat nav. So it's like, whoa, let's just revert to where we were. So getting that vision crystal clear and making sure we know exactly where we're at, even breaking it down smaller than that, this month, this quarter, this year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, like knowing exactly where we're going. So for me, having a crystal clear vision is one of the most fundamental parts of being a founder, and having the energy and the fuel to do all the other shit that I've just been talking about. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Magic. Energy, something most people miss. So unless we're looking after ourselves, mind and body. So I wrote on someone's social media post or LinkedIn post yesterday, to be fair, is everyone's banging on about mindset. Probably if you follow Tristan and I, we're massive on mindset, but mental fitness needs physical support. And ultimately, as a founder, we need to look after ourselves. Otherwise, we're not going to have the energy for this, essentially. So consistently looking after our own energy and working out what is in our toolbox to do that. So I've always called it a toolbox. Like, if the energy's off, what do I need to get out of the toolbox? So it's something we're very passionate about on Bound, and help people to make sure they maintain that consistent energy. And also when they do drop the ball, they've got a bounce back plan to get that energy back up as well. So loads of different ways to do that. But again, like the sales and marketing, it's not just off the shelf. What works for me might not work for Tristan. What works for Tristan might not work for you. But it's about going on this journey, being self-aware, and also consistently dialing in to be self-aware of where our energy is at, so we can go on that sustainable journey as well. So again, something we're super passionate about, we could ramble on about, but hopefully gives a bit of an indication of what we should be looking at on Dial 8.
Yeah, I think this was one of the first things that we really connected on, other than our passion for business, was our passion for this. That actually, like, for me anyway, one of the biggest light bulb moments for me as a founder was realizing I'm in charge of my own fucking energy. Doesn't mean it's going to be a 10 out of 10 every day, but actually I can just stop a minute and dial my energy up, and then I've got more in the tank to just do things that are going to take me towards my vision. That was just, I'd never even thought of that before. And figuring out what those things are for each person is an individual thing, but it's not rocket science. A little bit of trial and error, and all of a sudden you can just change the game in your day and your weeks, because you're owning your energy and you're able to shift those dials.
Yeah, 100%. It's just taking complete ownership of that energy as well. What I love about the energy side of things now is that, do I drop the ball and do I sometimes have shit energy? Yeah, I do. But that's cool because I know why. I can quite easily go, okay, ABC, yeah, that's affected my energy, and XYZ will get me back in the place that I need to be. And it's about understanding that and going that journey, which is something we help our members out with a lot. But I think the point you've made there, from a positive note as well, it's also being aware of that, okay, I'm getting into the danger zone here. And what can I do, which I'll nick your words here, mate, to slow down, to speed up again, and being aware where the threats are coming in terms of our energy as well. Because we can't go 100 miles an hour 24/7. Like, we're all human beings. So I don't care what anyone says, we can't go 100 miles an hour 24/7. And if we do, I'd love to see what your fucking home life is like.
Yeah.
So, which is something we're also very, very passionate about. So energy, massive part of the equation. Dial 9, more on the mindset, is focus. So it comes into the vision bit. Focus is a lot easier when your energy is in the right place, but making sure we're focused on the right things, which is basically all these 8 dials, is making sure that our focus is in the right place. Might sound corny and cheesy, but the old adage of energy flows where focus goes. Yeah, it's cheesy, but it couldn't be more fucking true, could it? So we get what we focus on. So making sure we're focused on the right things at the right time. And ultimately, I think this is the biggest threat to a founder. Like, I genuinely do. If we're not focused on the right things, this is where things start going wrong, either personally or in the business as well. So what systems have we got in place to make sure we've got that focus? One thing we do at Unbound is we've created our own journal and planner for our members. Daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly planning and focus journaling. It's not even that much hard work. 5-10 minutes a day, asking the right questions, gets a focus in the right direction. And also that external support system to sense check you and call you out on your own bullshit as well, which I'm very grateful that you do to me, Tristan. So I appreciate that. But yeah, founder focus is dial 9. So again, we could go on that one, but yeah, hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, creating the right environment, habits to be able to create focus, and then that's practice, I think, for me. And then focusing on the right things is often the more challenging thing. And for us, we're lucky we've got each other that we can bounce ideas off, plus coaches, mentors to work with. So yeah, for me as well, that's like focusing on the right things. It's almost having that mindset of it's not always just down to just me to figure everything out in my business. It's okay to ask for help.
Yeah, 100%. And we've all made that mistake, haven't we? Where we're just banging our head against the wall and think it's always down to us. But look, it's not. We need to drop the ego sometimes and understand that there's other people out there that can help. So I'm going to summarize these 9 key dials, but I have just noticed, mate, you've got some books back on your bookshelves. For those watching, Tristan's moving to Bali. Last week there was nothing on your bookshelf. So have you put those on just for this presentation?
No, clearing the kitchen table is my excuse. Get dinner out.
Sorry, pal. Cool. So the 9 key dials: positioning, lead process, sales conversion, product, processes, people, vision, energy, and focus. So have we got a magic wand? Unfortunately not. Can we support you with all of them? 100%. Hopefully this little health check, audit, whatever you want to call it, is ultimately giving you some direction yourself anyway. Whether you're considering, oh, I fancy a chat with Richard Tristan, see what they're up to or not. Hopefully there's a load of value there where you can start thinking, yeah, this is giving me a little bit more of a clearer picture. It's helped with the focus, helped you zoomed out a little bit. So hopefully that's helped. Okay, who are we working with? Ourselves, obviously. So we don't give advice on either things that we haven't done or aren't doing ourselves, essentially. So anything that we work on with members is we've either done it before or we're doing it ourselves right now. We're investing in a good handful of entrepreneurs at the moment and putting our own fucking money at stake on these strategies as well. And ultimately building the same fundamentals and putting the same support into those businesses as well. Going to give an example here. Mr. Mike McGloin, he won't mind being called out because he loves it anyway. But if you spoke to Mike, we've been working very intensively over the last 12 months on these dials, and the progress that is made in the 12 months is incredible. And again, Mike won't mind me saying this, his business used to be, or the business used to be, because it is a JV, is pretty up and down, not that consistent, not that predictable, but we've been focusing on taking a step back, getting these fundamentals in place for the last 12 months. And all of a sudden, it's gone from that to, okay, now we're making progress. And he's on track to break his first 7 figures. And I'm not saying this will be the same for everyone, but without a single member of full-time staff, which is absolutely incredible. So won't take all the credit. Hats off to Mike for implementing a lot of this stuff. And you're just getting started, mate. So well played. We're currently working with around, 30 plus founders at the moment who are on a similar journey. So if there is any interest in reaching out to us, I'd rather you spoke to some of those guys first. So reach out to us. You can always speak to any of the members that we're working with, have a chat with those guys in terms of how we're helping them. We're not here to sell it all to you today. And if you are open to learning more about Unbound, I'm not going to bore you to death now. However, if you do want our brochure, if some of this has resonated with you and you're thinking, yeah, I'm at that stage of the founder journey, I like what these guys have got to say, I understand that it's about consistent action, I'm willing to be held accountable, I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to be around a community of founders that are on this mission, then get in touch. Like, we want to work with people for the long term. We're not in this for a quick 6 weeks and here you go, here's a theory, off you pop. Like, we want to be supporting the people who we're working with for the long term, which is exactly why you can see there is a 90-day paid trial. It is paid, it's not free, because within that period, people are going to get a massive amount of value. But why is it a 90-day trial? One, so you're not committed for the long term and you can think, well, is this right for me? Is this wrong for me? But secondly, we don't want to be working with people that we're not passionate about working with as well. And for us, it's about people who, want to get stuck in, want to take action, want to share the stories with the rest of the guys that we work with and the rest of things as well. I'm not saying you need to be an absolute savage to work with us, because that's not the case. Like, it's just about doing what you said you were going to do. And if you can't, reaching out for help. So if you want a little bit more information in terms of how we work, then you can either WhatsApp my number, which is on the screen. No naughty pictures, please. Just message me the word unbound or whatever you want. That's a little bit more human. 07712 712 846. Drop me a WhatsApp and I'll send you our brochure with pricing and obviously answer any questions you've got. Or look, we're all pretty smart. Like, find us on LinkedIn, social media, drop us a DM, get in touch. So yeah, would love to speak to more founders that want to go on this journey and obviously want to join another group on this mission, and hopefully would value getting some support with it as well. There's absolutely loads of ways that we support you, including unlimited one-to-one support. So there's a hell of a lot more, but I genuinely believe that there is no one out there offering what we offer on the marketplace. So hopefully you've got loads of value from this. Tristan, you can act as a potential client here, mate. What questions would you have at this stage?
If I'm a busy founder, I'm wanting to know, have I got time to be working with you and going through this process and shifting some of these dials?
Absolutely amazing question. Well done. It's like you prepared this, which we haven't, I promise. Literally written in the notes last night. So yeah, as you know, mate, we've designed it specifically for busy founders. So we drop training every single week. There's a portal that has got, I think, about 40 plus videos on all these areas already that you can watch in your own time on demand if you wish to do so. We drop training every single week. People can join live to the workshops. You don't have to, though. It's all on there that you can watch absolutely on demand. You can book one-to-one calls via a Calendly link to get support whenever you need it. We've got a group session on a Thursday at the same time every single week, which is an hour where we're doing a bit of a think tank and all learning from each other. So ultimately, it's a bit of a buffet at times. So people tend to take a load when they need it and then sometimes sit back and drop out a little bit and then take a load when they need it. And ultimately, it's there for when they need it. So no, you don't need loads of time. However, with anything, the more you put in, the more you're going to get out.
Got it. Sounds expensive. You mentioned that you offer one-to-one support. Is it pricey?
Not at the minute, it isn't. So ultimately, the 90-day paid trial is £1,000, which is what the same as an iPhone, which most 12-year-olds have nowadays. So invested in the business, it's £1,000 for a 90-day paid trial. At that point, it'll go into a rolling monthly fee if we decide that we're going to work with each other for the long term as well. So yeah, no, that's where we're at the moment. Will it be that price forever? No, because ultimately Unbound's a pretty new business, and as we grow and scale things, then ultimately the demand grows as well. It is going up, and it has been going up very slightly on a monthly basis so far as well. So if we keep this video going for a while, we might have to edit this last bit, mate.
Good stuff. And what can I expect in 90 days? What will, it's an accelerator. What kind of progress can I expect to make in 90 days?
Everyone's at a different stage, but I think first and foremost, work intensively to get the positioning in check and start getting the sales and marketing in order, start getting more predictable leads and sales in. So ultimately, I don't know what people's average value order is, but in that 90 days, if we can't help people start getting more sales in within 90 days, then you need to do one and tell us straight that we're shit at what we do and we're not for you. and plaster it all over social media and call us out as absolute bullshitters. So yeah, there's a lot that can be achieved in 90 days essentially. But what I will stress is we don't really want people coming in for 90 days because this is a journey and it is a longer term journey that we want to work with people on. So ultimately we will accept people onto the 90-day trial, but with the mindset that if they're in, they do want to work with someone for the long term and support them as well.
Cool. Awesome.
Magic. Well, let's leave it there because I don't even know how long we've been, but I can guarantee it's way over what we planned. But yeah, if anyone's got any questions, reach out. If you haven't, that's great. Just take the value from the audit and work on things yourself. Look, it is what it is. You might watch this video and think, yeah, don't vibe with those two guys and definitely don't want to work with them, which is absolutely cool. So all the best. Hope you got some value. And yeah, hopefully some of you will be speaking soon.